Shellock sat atop a mossy mound in the Emerald Meadow, the morning light catching the brass hinges of his shell. He pulled a tiny brush from drawer number 1, his movements precise and practiced. He focused on a single copper gear, scrubbing away a speck of dust until the metal caught the sun. The meadow was a world of stillness, punctuated only by the rhythmic, metallic clicking of his tools. Then the silence broke. A high-pitched hum vibrated through the grass, growing into a frantic buzz. Brizzy descended in a blur of motion, landing inches from his face. Her wings beat with erratic speed. "Shellock! A monster has dropped a treasure near the stone path," she shouted, her voice sharp with urgency. He finished his stroke, wiped the gear, and slowly clicked his drawer shut. "Patience, Brizzy. We must verify the facts." Shellock turned his head toward the arrow lift, a series of pulleys and tension lines anchored to the base of his shell. "Prepare the lift," he commanded. Brizzy moved with practiced speed, hooking her harness onto the golden handle. She braced her legs against the moss, wings blurring into a translucent haze. With a sharp, powerful beat, she surged upward. The ground vanished. Shellock felt the sudden, stomach-turning lurch of gravity losing its hold. The meadow, once a familiar expanse of green, began to stretch and warp beneath them. A simple garden hose, usually a minor obstacle, became a winding, deep blue river cutting through the landscape. The dew-covered stones, once solid and mundane, rose up like jagged, distant mountain peaks. Shellock pulled a leaf map from his side compartment, his eyes scanning the terrain for the pulsing light. The wind whistled past his antenna, carrying the scent of damp earth and distant clover. He tracked their path, noting the landmarks shifting in the distance. Brizzy banked hard to the left, her wings straining against the air currents to maintain their altitude. They were no longer just observers of the garden. They were travelers crossing a vast, uncharted territory. Light ahead, wings beat, leaving safety, soaring to unknown. The descent was abrupt. Brizzy banked sharply, her wings beating against the air to kill their momentum, and they touched down on a flat, gray rock. The surface was cool and hard beneath Shellock. In the center of the stone sat the object. It was massive, rounded, and dense, catching the sunlight and shattering it into brilliant shifting bands of red, blue, and yellow. The light seemed to breathe, pulsing against the gray backdrop of the rock. Brizzy landed a few inches away, her wings trembling. She kept her distance, darting back and forth as if expecting the object to strike. "See? It is magic!" she cried, her voice echoing slightly against the stone. Shellock did not answer immediately. He remained still, his antenna tasting the air for any scent of movement or heat. He reached into a side compartment, his movements slow and calculated. He pressed a hidden latch. A brass magnifying glass slid outward with a soft metallic click. He extended the lens over the object, his eyes narrowing. "Patience, Brizzy," he said. "Observation is the first step of science. Look closer." Brizzy hovered, her wings beating a nervous, erratic rhythm against the air. She leaned in, pressing her face toward the glass lens Shellock held steady. The massive, pulsing light suddenly snapped into focus. The crystal dissolved. It was a simple, clear dewdrop, perfectly spherical, resting atop a discarded glass marble. The light did not pulse. It merely bent as it passed through the water and the curved glass beneath. Brizzy pulled back, her amber eyes wide. "It is just water," she whispered, the tremor in her wings fading into a confused buzz. Shellock adjusted the lens, tilting it to catch the sun at a sharper angle. "It is refraction," he said, his voice calm and precise. The sun hits the water and the curved glass. The light slows down and bends as it travels through different densities. It separates white light into a spectrum. He pointed his antenna at the vibrant bands of color dancing across the gray rock. "It is not magic, Brizzy. It is physics." Brizzy watched the colors shift as a cloud passed overhead, the dread replaced by a sharp, sudden curiosity. The monster was gone, replaced by the mechanics of the world. She looked at Shellock, her wings steadying. "So the garden is not hiding monsters," she said. "It is hiding secrets." Shellock adjusted the lens, focusing on the surface of a nearby leaf. The tiny, jagged veins suddenly appeared as massive, intricate river systems. This tool makes the hidden world visible, he said, his voice low. Science is the magic that explains the world. Brizzy hovered, her excitement replaced by a steady, curious rhythm. What else is hiding in the garden? She asked. Shellock tucked the magnifying glass back into his shell with a final, satisfying click. The world is full of secrets, Brizzy. We only need to look. As the horizon turned a deep, burning orange, Brizzy hooked her harness back onto the golden handle of his shell. With a powerful beat of her wings, she hoisted him into the cooling air. They drifted toward their home, the steady brain and the curious wings, moving together through the golden light.